Fred, question and answer session. Hello, everyone. My name is Tessa, and I'm the Director of Marketing at IdeaPros. And I have Fred Cary, CEO of IdeaPros. Hello, Fred.
I'm sitting here answering questions from other people right now.
Oh, well, wait, tell them they're supposed to be submitting questions on the chat here. That's silly. But we do want to make sure that we are answering questions today. It's all about entrepreneurism. There's so many topics you cover, Fred. So can you just give us like a rundown of the types of things that people typically ask questions of you?
Yeah, well, it all begins on how you do better in your life, and it goes from there, right? So when you decide to become an entrepreneur, the rule books are pretty scarce, and the turmoil that's involved, it's like jumping into a raging ocean. The rules are not well written, and you have to be able to drown and survive many that ocean. And so a lot of the questions involve number one, how do I deal with it? And number two, how do I win? And I think that winning has a lot to do with your customers, your differentiation, how you establish yourself as an organization, and how you start following that lighthouse towards success in your company. As well as that, I get a lot of questions about how do I be a better person? How can I be a better leader? How can I lead by example? And those type of things are all very important. As your organization starts to get bigger, you have to transition yourself from an entrepreneur founder to a leader. When you let go of that one-arm paper hanger routine you're used to and start putting together a sophisticated, impactful team around you, how do you let go of those reins and let them start running the show so that you can kind of direct the ship, but not have to do all the different things?
I think I'm an experienced one-arm paper hanger too, so I've done that. But I have a list of questions. If you are watching today and you have a question, go ahead and put it in the chat. If we can, we'll put it up and answer your question. All good questions today. There's never really a bad question to me because Fred is able to answer almost everything. And this first question is, it's near and dear to my heart, but how can I market my business to attract more clients? It's a great question.
Well, it's the ultimate question, right? It's what we have to do. Clients, customers, users, downloads. It's the name of the game. Anytime you're starting a business, the reality is attracting the right audience and enough of them is key to whether you, or at least one of the keys to whether you success or fail. So the question is really open-ended, and there's a million different answers to that question. So let me speak in generalities a little bit about that. You have to look at who your target audience is, number one. Who is that performer? Who is the ideal person that wants what I have, whether it's a service, a software application, physical product? Who is likely to be the target of my offering, and where do they live? And when I say where do they live, for most of us, it means where do they live on the internet? How do I reach them? Do I go on Facebook, Instagram? Is my audience more likely to be on LinkedIn? Once you figure out where they are, then you have to figure out, how am I going to get them interested in what I have? And it's not going to be just because you have something. It's going to be because you're offering something compelling to them in a way that resonates with them and in a way that's likely to attract duplication. In other words, is your content engaging enough that will capture somebody's attention and then have a good chance of causing them to share that information with their friends, their family, their associates, their business relationships? And that is really the key to attracting more, because you're not going to have, as a startup company, you're not going to have this unlimited budget. You're probably working on very limited resources, very limited budgets. And so you have to take the social engagement elements of whatever you put out there and rely on your audience that you've just now reached to spread the word to more of their kind. So how you how you engage yourself, how you engage your audience, how you grow your audience is by providing relevant, informative, educational, or entertaining content that they are likely to share and they are likely to be interested in. You have to do that. You can't just say, I have my super widget for sale. You have to talk about the history of widgets and funny cartoons with somebody breaking their first widget and things that are engaging and relative. The Harry's Razor, I use that thing a thousand times, but they provided entertaining content and mystery before they even launched and gathered hundreds of thousands of people on their email list for a razor. So they can do it for razor, you can do it.
Right, right. And I love Sage Scheduler is doing that kind of video content right now and a mysterious. So I think he's definitely, Sean Reed's definitely doing that and, mysterious build audience. But this actually leads right into the next question. But before I go into your question, Odin, I am going to put that on because it's perfect for leading from this. I just want to remind you that you actually have to talk to your audience in order to understand what is or isn't working, like actually have a conversation with them. I have a lot of people are like, well, I don't talk to them. They buy online and it goes through. It's like, if you don't understand what is or isn't working, you're not going to be able to do more of it. So if you say, how can I attract more clients? Well, what works right now? Why did they buy? What's the pain points? What is it that life before you look like, and what does life after you look like? When you actually can communicate that to people, then you can increase your clients for sure. And that's my opinion. But Odin has a question, and that's when should you start building your audience, and should you wait until you have everything from IdeaPros? Oh my gosh, he knows that I'm talking all about this right now. Fred, should they wait?
You should start building your audience as soon as you possibly can. A lot of us think in a very linear fashion. When is my app going to launch? When is my product going to be on the shelves? When am I going to be on Amazon? And starting then is going to cause you a great delay between when your solution's available and when people start using it. Which, look, it's going way off the camera. The reality is you start as soon as you can. And you can't start with every bit of information being, hey, only 78 weeks until my product is 7 weeks until my 76, 70, 58 weeks. You can't start that way. You have to engage that audience by understanding who they are, your prior comment, and what they want, how they respond. And there's some method that is trial and error a little bit, but there's also information that you can gather from research reports, market analysis, things like that we use for all of our partners. And I believe we have that available as a service as well.
Yes.
So really dig deeply into who that target audience is likely to be and start providing content to start generating an email list. Be one of the first 1,000 people to join our email list. And when our product goes live, you're going to get the first product for 50% off because you're going to be a founding member of our company. That's going to be pretty compelling. And now you have their email list. Now you can start reaching them offline as well with updates, with other programs, with questions. If you're still in the development stage, we understand you love what we're doing. If you had a choice and you could give us the top 3 things you'd want to use our product or our service or our app, what would those 3 things be? Now you can start collecting data, and you can even start pivoting what you're building if you're early enough in the process so that you're building something that people actually want.
I love that.
Get to it as soon as you can.
Yes, as soon as you have an idea, you should build your audience. And when
one more thing, because this is something that it seems to be really hard for us to do, but you have to put yourself on the opposite side of the equation.
yes,
When you're scrolling through Instagram or Facebook or looking at things online, why do you stop? What makes you stop and look at something? If somebody has an ad out, or if some new company is talking about something, if you see some white paper online, what is it that makes you stop? Figure that out That's what makes most people stop. And yet, when we're the business owner, we just want to put, hey, I'm Fred. I have XYZ company. You should follow me, or you should get on my page and look at the cool stuff I have. That's not what would make you stop. That wouldn't make you stop. Why should it make anybody else stop? So when you're creating content, step away from it and look at it as an outsider. Is this interesting enough that somebody is going to stop what they're doing, looking at all their friends and their fake lives? Are they going to stop and look at what I have? And if you can look at it as an outsider, you're more likely to create content that is impactful and going to make people pause for a few seconds to see what you're up to.
And I think, don't think of when we say content. So Fred's talking in terms of social media or content that goes out, but think of content as everything, not just a post on social media. You can actually build your audience with a LinkedIn, building up your connections. It doesn't even have to be a social media post. You can be building relationships and strategically aligning yourself in the industry. I mean, there's so many things that you just said that I wanted to tie back to things that we are doing for Tango Scrubs right now. He's doing outreach to nurses and doctors for Tango Scrubs, which he's going to have products for any day now, which is a new design, but he actually is reaching out, making sure that he's aligned with all the right people on LinkedIn. He's also got a survey on his website about the colors that people prefer, because when you're buying product, he has like 6 colors and 2 sizes. That's a lot of products to have to buy. So he's actually using the feedback from people. And that's an easy way to say, hey, I just, could you give me your feedback real quick so I can get an idea of what's most popular? It's an easy thing for him to kind of open a door that might end in a sale down the road, or might end up in a relationship with a whole hospital for all he knows. Right. So,
I mean, that's a perfect example. Like, hey, you said you wanted to have scrubs in Jimi Hendrix purple, and we got them. Here we got them now, and we have it in your size. That's going to make somebody feel like, wow, they listened to me, and they have exactly the color I like, Jimi Hendrix Purple Haze, and I'm going to go. I don't know. I think that's a great color. And
this is the new, the special edition one he'll have to come out with now.
yeah, what I'm saying is when you can engage the audience and make them feel like they're heard, then that's really important. And yeah, I wasn't just referring to social media, although LinkedIn is a type of business social media, right?
It
Even
is.
things like white papers, things of interest. If you have something that's just a consumer good, become an expert. Write little tips and things on your Instagram, for example. If it has to do with some kitchen tool or something, become a kitchen expert and start putting out recipes showing how you cook these special things. Engage your audience in a way that they're going to find compelling. And oh, by the way, you know, I, I've been suffering as a cook for the last 10 years, trying to find the perfect tool to help me cook better. And now I have it, and it's going to be available in the next 4 weeks. Sign up and get it now. Now that becomes part of your story instead of the whole story. So think like you're creating a movie, and a movie that people are going to sit through to the end. And the end
Oh,
is going to be when they start buying from you.
this movie. Okay, well, speaking of that, how much of yourself, your personality, should you share in your content in order to engage your audience?
Well, I would argue that it depends on what your personality is. That, um, but a lot of it, people, especially when you're a startup, there's a real power in building a brand, right? When we talk about Apple, for example, you all know what Apple is all about, and I've used the example before. If they come up with a new electric toothbrush tomorrow, which they aren't, we'd all know what it would look like, what it would do, because we know them as a persona, as a brand. They've created their own person to be Apple. You don't have that when you're first starting out. You want to go there. You want to build that. You want to find out what the core essence of your brand is, and make sure that you're consistent with that as you build out that brand. But in the very beginning, it's really kind of cool to understand the people behind the scenes that have built something out, and whatever their characteristics are, their mannerism, their personality. It's almost like a substitute brand for the very beginning. Like you're the stand-in brand until your own business has become big enough to have its own brand identity. So you're the kind of seed that germinates the brand of your company. So exposing that seed to your customers, your potential customers, is a good thing, especially if you're not crazy.
Well, I do think that Apple, when it first, I don't know if you guys remember these commercials, but there was an Apple PC commercial. It was like a kind of nerdy guy that was the PC, and then there was the Apple was this like cool hipster guy. So before Apple went to this, really, it was still think different. That was still their tagline back then, but they just had this personality they were building between these two, and kind of like the competition. And so that it along the same lines, like you can create, even if you don't, if that you want it to be the personality, your personality first, but you can also have it be not your face. It could be a different face. But I tell people, they'll say, I was built for radio. I have a face for radio. That's what they'll say. And I'm like, no, people connect. People do business with people. In fact, the numbers are outstanding on if you have a profile that is a picture versus a profile that's a logo. If they don't know the brand, they're not going to connect with it as much if it's your logo. So just know that you have to be there, you have to be present, and it's the passion that you have. You can tell how passionate Fred is about helping entrepreneurs. He goes on to like 8,000 radio stations to help explain how to do business better. But if you have that passion, it doesn't matter what you look like. I promise you, it doesn't matter. It comes through. We have another question though, and it's
that Apple commercial you're referring to was after Apple was around for 15 years.
It wasn't in the beginning. I mean, Apple's had generations of brand evolution for sure, where they got more trendy and more, you go to the Apple site now and you see the product and that's it. You see the products like zooming around, right? But this was when they were building how the difference between PC and Mac was they were establishing themselves as the leader. And it definitely made an impact. I was a diehard PC person, but those ads always entertain me. I'm like, maybe I'll go over to the dark side. And I did, but Fred's still on the PC side.
And I saw an opposite commercial. I think it was Samsung that had everybody in line waiting to get the new Apple phone, and a couple of Samsung users were walking by, with their latest phone that Apple will be like in 2 more years. And the point is, you can do it in every direction, right? Apple got slammed in that commercial. Apple slammed PC in that commercial. But what is consistent is they all projected their personality. So yet, until your brand can project its own personality, project it through your essence.
Beautiful. So another question that we have is how do you determine the right price for your product? Is there a formula?
Well, that depends on where you're selling it, how you're selling it, direct to consumer, through Amazon, through big box. So there's a lot of different answers for that. But the first thing that I do when deciding about pricing is, can I build something that people will buy? Before you've even built it, you better know that answer before you've even built it. Because if you don't, then you're going to build this amazing thing that's going to be way too expensive for your audience to pick up. So I like to, in the very beginning, figure out the problem I'm solving. What are we solving? What do people want? What are people paying now for that solution? Because if there's no problem, right, you're building something that nobody wants. So if there is a problem, then people have a solution for that problem. It may not be great, it may not be good, it may not be anywhere near as good as what your solution is. But if you have a problem, you're going to try to find a way to have that. Before electricity, people had candles, right? Before candles, cavemen made fires in their caves. So there was a problem of being able to see at night, and that solution existed forever. Same thing with your product. There are solutions out there, completely inferior to yours, I'm sure, but they're out there. What are people paying for that now? What is the pain point that people have? And my product, I think, is going to be 50% more, but it gets rid of all their pain points instead of just 5 out of 8 of them. And I think people will pay more. Okay, how much more? Well, let's do some studies. Let's do some market tests. Let's get some feedback from our potential audience and get some price elasticity, see what they would pay. Okay, they're going to pay $48 for what I have. Now, can I make it at a price point that I can make a good profit at $48? Now is when you're going into your engineering, your manufacturing costs. What price point? Now I'm going to start answering your question right now.
Roundabout.
At what price point do I have to sell this for in order to be able to make a decent profit? Can I do that? Yes. Now I can answer your question. You want to at least sell for double, I would say, in most cases. Sometimes 4 times more if you're going through this hierarchy of having drop shipping, having outsourced customer service, having logistics, import, export involvement, dealing with factories that may want to have negotiate a good deal with you, but in the beginning charge you more because they're blending in the cost of their tooling into the initial cost of the things that you're buying. So your margin can be less if you're selling direct and you're holding it, you're supplying it, you're shipping it, you're dealing with your own customer service. So if you have something that's costs you $40, so let's say it costs you $4, you can sell it for $10, $12. If you're doing that direct, it's going to help you pay for your advertising, for your shipping, for your returns, for your customer service, for your own hard cost of getting these materials. If you're selling through something like Amazon, Amazon's going to take 30% of everything you make. So if you have something that cost you $4 and you're trying to sell it for $8, well, 30% of that eight, well, let's say you're going to sell for $9. So
He's like, better math.
So if you're going to sell for $9, then $3 of that is going to Amazon at a minimum. It may be, depending on shipping costs, it could even go higher. So now you're down to $6. It cost you $4. You have advertising costs and things like that. Probably another dollar or two. You just broke even. And that's not including any returns, right? So lots of cushion, but base your price point that you pay on the elasticity of your customer ahead. Because you can't assume that you're going to make money on what you build if the customer won't pay the kind of price point that you need.
Yes. And I think we give numbers. Typically we start at 4 times the cost of whatever service or product. Obviously apps are a little bit different. So pricing an app, we might go into that on another show. For products, we start at 4. And then if you have some padding, the way that I've seen people do it when their first run comes out, they might offer that pre-sale, which Fred alluded to earlier. You could get a discount on the first run of something, like a pre-sale where they're going to put some money down for it, or a reservation, but they're holding a lower cost because you want to get it in the hands of people to get good reviews and to get the social proof that you need to sell it to more people. So if you have to in the beginning, you may decide you can take a little bit less of a profit so that you can get more profits in the end.
Let me solve the mystery of entrepreneurship.
Wow. Hold on. I'll make you full screen for this.
Sentences. You can't start a business looking to be profitable out front. That's it. That's all you need to know. There's so many people that go out there, I'm going to start my own business. I'm going to start making money right away. No, you're not. Because if you do, you're not going to grow your business. You have to go into it with the intent of, I got to get out in front of as many people as I possibly can. I have to get as many people talking about this as humanly possible, because I'm going to start generating my returns. So you're planting a thought, you're planting a seed, and that seed doesn't grow today. It takes time to germinates, it blossoms, it turns into something that is going to give you lifetimes of returns. But don't be so myopically focused on how do I be profitable day one. The focus needs to be, how do I get my name out there? How do I get my product out there? How do I get my app downloaded? How do I have enough money behind me to give me the cushion that I need to be able to survive this winter so I can get to the spring and the summer? So don't think about making money on your very first widget that you sell. Think about making money on your 10,000th widget.
Well, let's talk about making money right now, and then we'll let you all go for the weekend. Odin, I saw all of your questions. I'm putting them in a sheet for next time because you had great ones today. But I'm going to put this one up. Can you share the best way to raise money from friends and family? So maybe you're not selling your product, but you got to have that assets to be able to do some of this, right? So what would you recommend?
Well, I'm going to recommend one thing, and it's going to help you both raise money and keep your family. Because the worst thing you can do is take money from people close to you and guarantee that they're going to lose it all. And you can do that if you don't know your shit.
Mm.
The best way to take money for friends and family that is going to get the best response from them and is going to make it more likely that they're going to get a return on their money is to know what you're doing, know what you're talking about, understand your market. We've talked about this before, and we have a program for that too, that we do a very comprehensive analysis of your idea so that you understand completely. Let me interrupt myself. I need money from you. I'm going into this marketplace. It's really fast growing marketplace, and I think I can do really well in that market. Will you give me money? No, I'm not going to give you money. But if I come to you and I say, look, I've come up with this new product to go in this market. This market is a $5 billion market right now. It's growing at 40% a year. There's a real opportunity here. There's a subset of this market that's not being served. I have all these reviews from customers of these existing competitors that complain about this one thing that nobody can solve. And I've solved that one thing. So now I have a $5 billion market with a huge gaping hole in it. And I have a solution that fills that hole and will get all the customers that these people got interested in what I have, because they're all complaining about what these companies don't have, and I happen to have it. This is the growth of the market. This is my own revenue opportunity. This is how we're going to make money. This is where I'm launching first. This is the amount of capital I'm going to need for the first couple of years, and these are the results I'm going to get. And oh, by the way, the $5,000 that I'm asking you for, my plan is to exit this in 3 years, to be acquired by a big company. I've already identified 3 huge companies that if I position our company right, in 3 years, they're going to come knocking on our door and they're going to want to buy us for $100 million, for $500 million, whatever that number is. And that means your $5,000 can become $500,000. I'm not guaranteeing that, but that's my formula. That's how I figured it out. And this is what I need to get there. Can you help me? Now you've become an expert. You understand the space. You're giving your friends, your family some comfort level that you did your homework so that you're not going to just go out and waste their money. That's how you raise money from friends and family. Know your stuff, have a good plan, have a great strategy, understand what you need to do in the next couple of years to get to where you want to go. Then you're going to get money and you're going to keep your friends.
I love it. Well, and you mentioned that we have some resources. So I'm going to put it in the chat. If you guys don't know, if you're new, I saw Sony who just came in for the first time. Look, IdeaPros has so many resources. There's our blog at ideapros.com. There's our insiders checklist, which just has a bunch of the basics on how to get started. If you have an idea and you're just trying to get in and you need, it actually breaks down and has videos that go with each of the main things that you need to know as you're launching. So go check it out, because Fred's is on a mission to help entrepreneurs. And I think you have a specific goal on a number, but it's a lot. But
well, it's not a big number all by itself, but it's a big number because all right, so here's my goal. Nobody asked, but I'm going to tell you anyway.
I am asking. I didn't know if you were ready to say it, so I have to.
So I had started this about 8 years ago, that I wanted to change the lives of 1,000 people in a compelling fashion. I upped that after we got to 500,000 followers on Instagram, official Fred Cary, by the way, for the new person. I upped that to 10,000. And what I want to do is I want to impact the lives of 10,000 people to enough of an extent that they'll go and try to do the same to their next generation. So I want to do 10,000. I only expect the next group to do 1,000, 1/10 of what my goal is. And the next group after that to do 100. So 10,000, 1,000, 100. And that equals 1 billion people. So if we can do that, that's a really big number. I know I can do the 10,000 part, but all you guys have to do that your part next.
Well, I'm in. I'll help. Well, thank you all for being here. And I appreciate we went a little bit over, but we just had so many questions for Fred. And if you did have a question and I didn't get to it, we will write it down. But we thank you so much, Fred, for being on here with us. And we'll see you next week. And I'm just going to take a second and go chat with the group. As you guys know, and you heard Fred say, we have a really big goal. So let me know in the chat if you're planning on making that big of an impact with your app or business in the world. I'm sure that I know Sage, you definitely are out there. You're going to make that kind of impact. Sage has been building up his audience. I know I mentioned the numbers, but he put his link in the chat too. It's Sage. You can go to IG Sage right now. He's at 98,000 followers today. Congratulations on that number. And it's a lot of hard work. And I know you put that in the chat there too. It's a lot of work to build up your audience that much. So start now, guys. And if you need help on that, we did have an audience growth calculator, which is really fascinating, that I can send it over to you. You can pop numbers in to see how many people you're going to have in your audience in order to convert to hit the money goal that you have. That's one of my favorite tools right now to play with and dream with too. But if you guys have any questions, obviously IdeaPros.com, and you can let us know in the chat and we'll follow up with you. We're here every Friday at noon Pacific time, and we'll see you all. Wait, I don't want to let you go yet. I saw some new people. So I know I saw Clarice, Dr. Clarice over there getting ready to launch Congenova, and Martin and Grunt. So I saw Kyle and Martin both. Vanessa with Swizzy, if you want to put your link in, of course. Kelly, yes, sagescheduler.com is the other place you can go check out. Try Grunt. I don't see your link. Stacy Shea, good to have you here. So glad you guys made it time on a Friday before the weekend. Odin, I know we had somebody I was trying to find. Oh, Mark, with Fallout Product Support. He's awesome. He's getting his business going. Matt, great to have you here. Guys, I appreciate you. Don't forget to hit the bell and subscribe so you know when we go live. We'll see you all next week. Bye.